Aloha, this is Tom Lesher on September 8th with webinar number 2, and we're going to continue going through, this is the second class. We're going to spend 3 classes on going through the archetypes, the 12 major archetypes, the 12 signs. And last week we successfully navigated through the waters of Pisces, the fire of Aries, and the earth of Taurus. This week we're going to go on with Gemini. But before doing that, I need to answer a couple of questions for people that actually are about the house system, because I sent out that email about me using the porphyry house system, and I got some questions back. Yeah, and number one, and I'm going to deal with this briefly today because there is a whole class dedicated to the houses coming up later on. But I just wanted, these people needed to know right away. So here it is, okay? There are 50 at least different ways of dividing the horoscope into houses. Regiomontanus, Porphyry, Placidus, Campanus, whole sign house systems. For New Paradigm Astrology, I am going to leave you free to use whatever house system you want. Okay, I was actually, I don't need to get into my story, but some astrologers and some schools are far more strict as far as what house system they want you to use, and you need to use their house system or you're not part of their school. I'm not that way. If you want to use Placidus, fine. I just put it out there that I use Porphyry. And these different houses, and I encourage you to research. This is something that has gone on for many years. Astrologers don't agree on it, obviously. There are many different ways of taking space and dividing it. They're in general agreement that the horizon, the ascendant, starts the first house, and that the midheaven starts the 10th house, and the 4th house is the nadir, okay? So the cross that starts the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th houses, these are the same in practically all of the house systems. But then you have, how do you divide that space between what's at the zenith directly overhead and what's at the ascendant? Particularly as you go into northern latitudes, what happens is the space becomes squeezed. It's like taking the belt of the zodiac, around a large stomach, and then you take it off the stomach, and it's like, and you try to squeeze it around this smaller circle, and the space squeezes. So, anyway, there are many different ways of dividing that space between the zenith and the horizon. And the Porphyry system is what Jeffrey Wolf Green uses, the founder of the School of Evolutionary Astrology that I studied under. He's my teacher. He turned me on to it. It is based upon the law of 3, the Trinity, that you take that space and you divide it equally by 3. Boom, boom, boom. 10th house, 11th house, 12th house, you will find are all the same size. And below the horizon, house 1, 2, and 3 are all exactly the same number of degrees. That's the Porphyry house system. It takes that space and divides it equally by 3. Now you get into Placidus, which is the most popular these days. It is the most popular because there was a monk, Placidus de Tito, in the 17th century that used his calculations, and he took the time it took for a planet to rise from the horizon to the midheaven. He calculated the time, and he trisected that time. So he's dividing it by time, and of course that time, is changeable. So it could, it could raise, I'm not exactly sure of all the astronomy of it. I'm not an astronomer. But I know that if you trisected time instead of just using the space, and the reason that it's most popular is because there were the most number of the tables of houses. Before computers, they had books with tables of houses, and those Placidus tables of houses were published through the 20th century all over the place, and they were the most available, so that is the most popular, and it's just kind of stuck in health. The Koch house system is like the newest house system, just developed in like 1971, and this is another means of dividing this space between the midheaven and the ascendant. So we have all these different house systems. I encourage you to look at these different house systems, use different house systems. I used Koch for a long time. I started out with Placidus. I went over to Koch because Robert Hand uses Koch, and I was really into Robert Hand for a while. And then I used the whole sign house system, because that's what the shamanic school of astrology uses with Daniel Giamario. And then I used Porphyry for a while with the evolutionary school and Jeffrey Green. Then I went back to Koch. So I have bounced around a little bit myself, and I have landed and settled on Porphyry. I've been using it for a number of years now. Most often the change is minimal and the planets stay in the same houses. Every once in a while, a planet or two, or you could have more, they change from one house to another. And that's where you really want to pay attention to the differences. Next, intercepted signs. Intercepted signs are when you have more than one sign, more than two signs in a house. And I think I really want to deal with that. That's a very involved question, and it seems simple, but it's a very long answer, and I would like to deal with intercepted signs on the class that has to deal with houses. So whoever asked me about that question, I will come back to that later on in the series, but I would like to continue going forward now, moving through the archetypes of the signs. Yeah. Okay. I see a bunch of thumbs up over here. That's very good. That's very good. Keep your thumbs up, and if there's a problem, you can put your thumbs down or ask a question over here. Okay. So let's jump on in to Gemini. We got Jupiter in Gemini right now. Jupiter went into Gemini in July. I think it was July 3rd, July 4th. It's going to stay there for a year until next July of 2013. So Jupiter is expansion, opportunity. You know what I want to say is, if you've got these charts in front of you, and one of these good things that we're going to say, and I'm going to deal with this a lot more when we get to the planets, but very simply, when I'm talking about these signs, like I'm going to talk about Gemini, okay? If you've got the moon in Gemini, you have a PhD in Gemini, you're coming from Gemini, you've done Gemini in your past lives. If you are a Gemini rising, it means that you are moving towards Gemini or learning Gemini this lifetime. Your rising sign is the school that you are in. So there's your moon and your rising, and of course your sun is the fuel that powers the whole chart. So if your sun is in Gemini, you want to be doing Gemini, and it's going to enliven and empower everything about you. So there's your sun, moon, and rising. So when you look at these 5 different charts, don't just look at sun signs. Be looking for these moon signs. The moon is very, very powerful and critical. And the rising sign, the horizontal line is the horizon. The chart is a 24-hour clock, okay? So you're looking at this horizon, and over far to the left is a sign. That is the eastern sign that was rising at the time you were born. The sign over on the right is setting. That's the descendant. So the rising sign is far over to the left. Sign is a Scorpio rising. Very good. Okay. So you have this going on, right? So now you can, instead of just looking at sun signs, look at moon signs, look at rising signs. We're going to just gradually expand the bubble here a little bit, and keep it going. So let's get into Gemini, the Joker, the trickster. The mystery school of Gemini emerges out of Taurus. We talked about Taurus. We talked about Pisces. Let's just review here a little bit. Pisces is the infinite potential. That infinite potential bursts out like the seed bursts out of the soil through the sign of Aries. Aries is the impulse and the desire to get going. And then Aries, comes into Taurus, earth, substance, manifestation. So the impulse takes form. And then that form needs to relate to its environment. Stephen Forrest gave a wonderful analogy of this. Okay? It's the airplane flying. Okay? The airplane, crashes in the jungle. Boom. That's Aries. Crash. The first thing you do is what? You see that if you're alive or not. Yeah? And then Taurus, you check your body. And then if you're okay and your body's okay, you're still breathing, you're still alive, then you come into Gemini. You get out of the plane, you open the door, you crack a window, and you see your environment. You see what's around you. You see what you need to connect with, what you need to expand into, and you gather information about that environment. This is Gemini. It is the student. It is learning. It is looking into everything that it is around in the immediate here and now, in the neighborhood, right in front of your nose, right in front of your face. And you break out of that airplane and it's just like, okay, are there cannibals in this jungle? Is there food in this jungle? Where's the nearest water? So, we have that impulse to be. That's Aries. We come into a physical body through Taurus, and we need to relate to our environment. So this is Gemini. And so Gemini is all about gathering information. It is about learning. It is about exploring and curiosity and checking out all the different aspects of what is available. It has very much to do with thinking. It's an air sign. We talked about fire, earth, air, and water. We talked about cardinal, fixed, and mutable. This is mutable air. Mutable has to do with mutating, with changing. If you know a Gemini, they change their minds. Air is the mind. Mutable is change. So Gemini changes their mind. Because what? They're always gathering new information. Okay, there's new information. I didn't know that yesterday. I didn't have that little piece of information. I didn't have that airline ticket. I hadn't read that book. I hadn't. So I am constantly impacted by the new information that I am learning, and then I expand and I change and I grow out of that This is necessary for us to integrate into the external environment. We talked about how Aries and Taurus is this kind of the unconscious seed, very narcissistic, very self-oriented. You know, Taurus is very self-sufficient. Well, you build up your self-sufficiency, your capacity, your talents, your treasure, and then you need to begin to integrate into relationships, other people. So Gemini is about networking. Gemini is about friends. Our first immediate environment is our brothers and sisters. So Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and it's associated with the third house, this whole archetype has a lot to do with siblings, brothers and sisters. It's your immediate environment, your immediate neighborhood. Nowadays, it also has a lot to do with technology. It has a lot to do, okay, because what? The pressure on Gemini is the pressure to stay current. You must keep up with what is happening right here and now. Don't fall behind. Don't lose track, or you will not be connected. You will not be integrated. You will not have any effect in the outside world. So there's a pressure, you know, to always be learning more, to always be getting the latest and the greatest. And this can even get into places of shopping. You know, Gemini is liking to go shopping because the fashion has changed. There's a new gadget. There's a new device. There's something, you know, there's a new water filter out there. There's a, you know, there's a new health aid. You know, there's a new book, or who knows, man. There's always something new. And Gemini has, they just feel like, you know, I have to know this. I need to know this. Now, the other thing about the air is that it can be, at times, then superficial. It can be at times where Gemini is just buying new things. They are the gadget man or the gadget woman, and they've got all the latest toys, all the latest gadgets. They don't know how to use them. They're kind of stacked up in their closet, but, you know, they're always getting them, and there's, you know, there's more, and they get very, you know, wrapped up in, you know, in the moment, in the variety, in everything that's going on, in the here and now. Depending on the planet that's involved with this now, the energy of Gemini is to gather, like I say, all the variety, all the information, all the, you know, all the technology, all the means of communication. And this is the left brain. Logical, rational. Okay, it's looking at, you know, the world through the dualistic, polarized reality of it's either yes or no, here or there. It's navigating. I need this information. I need a MapQuest or Google Maps to get me from point A to point B. Gemini is GPS. In 100 yards, turn right. You know, it's giving us direction in the moment. So part of the challenge with Gemini, let's look at the polarity to Sagittarius. Okay, Gemini can be all about here and now, this immediate conversation, this immediate party that I'm attending, this immediate group of friends that I'm in, this, you know, this spouse or partner that I'm, you know, going out with tonight. I'm looking at what's going on right now, right here, right in front of me. And what is, you know, what's going to get me to the next corner, to the next place. I just want to get to the next, you know, it's like a group of stones going across a river. And it's jump, jump, jump. I just want to get to the next stone. So I'm going to say what I need to say. I'm going to do what I need to do to get to the next stone. It's very immediate. It's kind of looking a little bit, at the, what is it, when you're focused on the tip of your nose. What is that? Not cross-eyed, but nearsighted. Gemini can be nearsighted. That's a good one. I got to remember that. Sagittarius is farsighted. Okay, Sagittarius is the right brain, the intuition. It's the truth. The truth. We'll get to what the truth is when we get to Sagittarius, but every Sagittarius figures they have a handle on it. Whereas Gemini is, the truth is a little more changeable, the truth is a little more relative, the truth is a little more subjective. I just want to get from point A to point B, I want to get to this next rock, and then I'll worry about the rock after that, the rock after that, the rock after that. Sagittarius has looked across all the rocks, across the stream, into the forest, and they're looking at, the little house or the little cabin, that's about a mile away through the forest. So these two polarities are very complementary, and you can get lost in either one by not being in balance. Gemini can be too nearsighted, and they can just and this is where so many people have a challenge with Gemini, is this changing of the mind, changing of the tune. Some people call it lying. When you say one thing one day, in fact, Sagittarius will call it lying. When you say one thing one day, in order to just, get through the day. I just want to get through the day. I want to get through this argument. I want to get through this party. I want to get through this job. I want to just, get to the airport on time. I'll just do whatever I have to do, and and then the next day, I made it, I'm on the next stone, things look different, and I need to, modify, change to get to the next stone. You do this, it's very helpful. In the case of emergency, Geminis are very quick. They can think on their feet, they can think on their knees, they can think on their stomach, they can think on their back. If anything, they think too much. And they drive some of these other signs absolutely nuts. Yeah, okay, because it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. How do you keep up with the juggler, the joker, the trickster? Yeah? And, of course, the downside of that is mental masturbation. Yeah? It's the rat in the cage that is just going around in circles, around in circles. I'm just, and I don't know where I'm going. I'm just trying to get through here and here and here, and I don't have a goal. I don't have a long-term vision. I don't really have a personal truth. I don't really, there's no meaning to it all. I'm lost in the immediate. I just, who's ever got the most toys wins. It's that kind of a mentality. Well, life after death, or, the deeper philosophical underpinnings of, what's going on. I just want to get a bunch of money in the bank, a car in the garage, and get things covered, and, and get have enough money to buy the latest fashions, and so this is where this Gemini can get a little, we don't need to be judgmental, but we could say that is somewhat superficial. Yeah. What else? Well, the plus side is it's really good to have a Gemini when your computer breaks down, when your car breaks down, when when you need a joke, or you need to laugh at something, and you need to just kind of, lighten up a little bit. It is the joker. It is the trickster. So these air signs give us this ability to detach from the situation a little bit, which also gives us the ability to communicate And for water signs, for earth signs, the feminine, this introverted, I can be lost in my feelings, or I can be lost in my physical body. You also want to look at, when you're looking at all these charts, look at how many planets they have in each one of the elements. Fire, earth, air, and water. It's very nice to have a balance. Some people, such as myself, I got tons of fire and air. I have no water and one planet in earth. Shh, don't tell anybody. And I'll take that out of the transcription. Okay, but there's also houses. I have a lot of planets in the 12th house. It's a water house. So you can't just go by planets, but do look at elemental balances or imbalances. A chart with very little air can be a person who has a difficult time communicating. So this, Gemini, Mercury, 3rd house, this is about communication and interaction with the environment, which is very important. So it's not only gathering information, it's also speaking. When we get to the houses, the 3rd house has to do with your lower education and how smart they said you were at school, how able you were to, check the little boxes and repeat back what the teacher said like a good little robot. No, I'm a little down on the educational system. That might show. But Gemini is this ability, to also speak and to share and to talk and to give and receive our mental ideas. So it's also this left brain is the ability to take our feelings, the water, or to take our fire, our intuition, our imagination, and put them into logical, reasonable, rational forms of language. So Gemini is the study of languages. It's multiculturalism. It's being able to cross boundaries and cross barriers and gather information from other cultures, other societies, other languages. Rudolf Steiner said that language was the structure of the ego. It's like the more languages you can speak, the more versatile, the more open, the more diverse, the more fluid or flexible your ego is, because you can actually structure your language. You can be structured in different modalities, in different ways. So this is this Gemini capacity to mutate and to be mutable and to interact with the environment. Very, very, very critical. Now I'm thinking of something that Jeffrey Green said, that one of the challenges of Gemini is what? Well, we gather information. We read this book, we read that book, we read the other magazine article, we get the blogs, we get all this information. We get information overload. Too much information can overload the circuits and make it very, again, difficult to make a decision. I have too many options, too many possibilities. Again, I need to be balanced by Sagittarius, that I have an aim, a goal, a truth that I am aiming for. Otherwise, there can be mental instability, and Gemini can lose it. It is the schizophrenia, it's the twins. Well, I want this over here. No, I think I want this over here. No, I think I want this over here. Well, I think it's the two talking heads. It's quite the archetype, but I forget the fairy tale, the one going around with the heads talking to each other. But it's not funny when you are mentally overwhelmed and you can have a mental or a nervous breakdown. Gemini and Mercury do have to do with the mentality, the nervous system, and Gemini can get really wired out. Slow down on the caffeine. So, one other aspect. Again, it depends on where Gemini falls in your chart, what house it rules. It depends, and you want to be looking at that. You also want to be looking at any planets in the third house that you have, or that the charts in front of you have, if Gemini rules the third house. And then, of course, any planets that you have in Gemini. But let's also look at it just as in another way, shape, and form. The Joker played a special role in the court of the king. He was the only one who could go up and whisper in the king's ear that he was wrong, bad, made a mistake, a fool, without having the king chop his head off or give him a hard time. And this is where humor, humor can be a godsend, because humor can help point out things we don't want to see, things we don't want to look at, things we're ashamed of, feelings that we don't know how to deal with or integrate. Humor can bring these things up so that we can look at them, laugh at it, but at least acknowledge its existence. So Gemini can also have, at times, this sense of, and I forget who said, I think it was Daniel, diplomatic license plates. And with diplomatic license plates, you can park wherever you want without getting a ticket. So Gemini can have this Joker mentality that it is kind of a little bit above. I am a diplomat. I will not get a ticket. I can do things that other people cannot do. And I will not get screwed. Yeah. So it is this idea that I can talk my way out of a ticket. I can, talk circles around anybody. I can sell Eskimos refrigerators. I can, work my way around and use my mental agility to get my way no matter what. But then there can also just be this sense or this feeling that I am just a little bit above, or a little bit better, or a little bit smarter than anybody else. And so therefore I don't need to necessarily deal with this little peon issue of where to park. Yeah. So, Dinah, you think everything is Scorpio. I see you're active on the chat. All right, I'm going to turn my way over to the chat for a little bit, because that is the archetype of Gemini. Obviously, we could talk about Gemini more and more. Obviously, Gemini likes to talk more and more and more. But I think you get the general idea of that archetype, of what those planets are. If you have the moon in Gemini, you're coming from past lives of being a gypsy. You're coming from past lives of traveling. Oh, let's also bring in singing. Okay, Gemini and Mercury. Gemini rules the tubes of the body. It rules the limbs, the arms, especially the hands and the fingers, as well as the nervous system. Okay? So Gemini is also crafts and musicians, working with their fingers, playing the piano, playing the trumpet. And people making jewelry. Okay, dealing with what's on the surface and different things. Jewelry is perfect. So these are also, and then singers. It's your throat. It's communication. If you have issues, if you have problems, Saturn, Mercury in the 10th or the 12th house or something, sing. Learn how, open that chakra. Open that Mercury, open up that Gemini. So we'll get to these different, things, that you can do, and remedies and places. I'm just giving you a little foreshadow. You don't need to know all of that. Massage therapist. Massage therapist, I do feel, has a little more to do with Taurus. Taurus is the physical body. It is the earth. And it is the sensation. Cutting hair is a perfect Gemini activity. most definitely. Taurus in the 7th house, yes, Diana. And of course, yeah, so the massage it's Taurus in the physical body, but then you've also got, your hands and your fingers obviously doing the massage, unless you walk on top of the person or you do hot stones. Or you push them. No. So let's move on to Cancer and look at that archetype for a little bit here. Okay? Fire, earth, air, water. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. This is the first 4 signs. Okay? The first triplicity. And what we can look at with that is the plane crashes, Aries. Taurus, the body, okay, I'm okay, right? Gemini opens the door, we're in the middle of the jungle, I'll go find water, I'll go find food, I'll go see who's out there, who our neighbors are. And Cancer comes out and says, let's build some shelter. Let's make a little, where is there a cave? Okay, we want something to protect us. It could rain. There could be a fire. There could be any kind of danger. The airplane we're in could blow up any minute. Let's build a shelter. Okay, gather some trees, wood, leaves, cave, whatever. Yeah. So this is the crab. You know the crab crawls sideways underneath the rock. So Cancer is cardinal water. Cardinal water is that Brahma water. It initiates action through water, through the feelings, through the emotions, through the needs. The sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it's associated with the 4th house. So we're looking at moon, also 4th house. If you've got a lot of planets in the 4th house, if your moon is strong, maybe moon is in the sign of Cancer. If you have a lot of planets in Cancer, you want to be looking at this. People with the moon in Cancer are coming from being, being emotional, being the mother, really intuitive, really in touch with their inner world. Cancer, the 4th house, this is all very much about my own personal feelings, my personal emotional reality. Water always deals with our feelings and most often our unconscious. So our unconscious is always emerging into our consciousness. This is just part of the evolutionary process. We'll talk about it more and more. But Cancer is this point of the personal unconscious. Pisces is the collective unconscious. And we talked about the collective unconscious. We talked about the feeling of overwhelm, Neptune, Pisces, 12th house. This feeling of I feel your feelings, and the environment is like, overtaking me. Cancer is the personal unconscious, okay? And I have my feelings. It just comes out of nowhere. 2 hours ago, I was fine. I was flying high. I was having a good time. And then somebody said something that triggered this memory of when I was 4 years old and what my father did to me, and something comes up, some memory, something from the past. And this can be something from the past lives. This can be something that is unconscious, or that I didn't process, or I didn't work through, or I didn't feel all of the feelings, with it. And it comes back into my current reality. And so there is a change in my emotional state. There's a change in my feelings. There's a change in who I personally am, and who I'm identifying myself as right now. And it takes me time. to integrate the upsurge of these feelings into my ego, into my conscious identity. And that time is usually well spent alone, in solitude. Cancer needs space. They need time. Alone to process, to integrate. You know, they go into their room, shut the door, leave me alone! No! Yeah, because they're processing, they're feeling something. And so it's, you know, it's important. They're extremely sensitive people. And extremely sensitive, and we all have cancer somewhere. We are all extremely sensitive somewhere. We all have a moon, okay? We all have a fourth house. So this is coming into our inner child. This is the inner child. We all have an inner child. The opposite is Capricorn, Saturn, and the 10th house. That's the elder, the adult, the objective, duty, responsibility, get the job done. Our society, our jobs, our bosses, external authorities demanding. We all have to find this balance between the moon and Saturn, between Cancer and Capricorn, between the 4th house and the 10th house, between the inner child and the adult critic authority. And I mean, you can look, it's really great. I do this thing called astrodrama, where I have masks and costumes for each one of the planets. And we all stand there around the person, and we are the person's chart, and the chart speaks to you. And the person sits in the middle and goes, oh my God. And this is very true. This is like our chart. All of these planets are like all the voices in your head. You know, we all have this going on. I hope it's not just me. Put some thumbs up or something over there. You know, it's like, okay, we all have an inner child. We all have our father in there. We've all got, you know, the mom in there. We've all got, you know, these different voices. The boss, the brother, the sister, the dead grandmother, whoever. But we've all got the victim. You know, we've all got this martyr voice. Oh, no, poor me. You know, and then we've all got the, come on now, get your shit together and do it. And then we've all got the, oh, you dumb idiot. Yeah, I mean, we've all got these voices going on. Well, these are the planets. These are the different aspects of our psyche. Okay, so Cancer, the moon in the 4th house, is the little child that says, hey, I want some ice cream. Screw those guys. Stay home from work. Who cares about anything else? Come on. I don't feel good today. Oh, me, oh, my. So, screw you. It's the introverted little child within us, and we've all got it. And if anything, I would say our society in Western civilization, you know, ignores it, diminishes it, degrades it, and yet by taking care of our inner child, listening to our inner child, it is how we become emotionally stable, emotionally balanced, emotionally integrated, and we feel comfortable with ourselves. So Cancer is also about self-acceptance. I accept my feelings. You get people with a lot of Cancer, a lot of 4th house. It's just like, this is what I am. This is who I am. This is how I'm feeling. So there, that's it. It's just the way it is. The nice part about that is also Cancer is very accepting of other people having their feelings, having their needs. Oh, that's just the way John is. Oh, Sally always acts like that. That's just Sally. There is this beautiful capacity, and this is also then the capacity of the mother. Now, this is the interesting thing about Cancer. It's both the child and the mother. It's the need to be nurtured, to honor our feelings, to feel ourselves, to accept ourselves, our feelings and our emotions and how they're always changing. But that also leads to this, so we nurture ourselves, but it also leads to an understanding of other people and a compassionate, open heart. So I think of Amici, I think of the hugging saint, Mother Teresa. I think of, some of these other archetypes of Mother Mary. Yeah, these archetypes have to do with this ability to feel what other people need and to nurture other people and to care for other people, even though we may not understand them. Gemini is like, well, give me a reason. What's this about? I mean, where does it hurt? I'll get the doctor. I'll call 911. We'll fix this. Cancer is just like, I'm feeling these feelings, and they're not logical. They're not rational. They don't make any sense whatsoever. They can't be fixed. They just exist. They just are. Would you shut up? Anyway, but just let me feel my feelings. Let me have my feelings. So the mother is able also then instinctively, intuitively, not with logic, not with rational, not with reasons, but Mother Mary is this, the beautiful Mother Mary, the mother of Jesus. She takes everything upon. Right? It's the great mother that just loves us unconditionally. There's no reason. Mothers love their children. And their children can be, the mass murderers. But a mother loves her children. On some level, obviously. I mean, it's not go overboard. But there is this unconditional acceptance of feelings. There is this intuitive nature. There is also then the non-conforming nature. It's the opposite of Capricorn. The opposite of doing what the external authority says to do. It can be very self-absorbed, very narcissistic, take things very personally. The world is centered around me. The downside of Cancer is being overly subjective, overly personal, overly self-absorbed in their own little myopic world that is inside of themselves and their feelings, and not nurturing other people, not putting themselves in other people's shoes, not caring what other people are feeling or hearing or seeing or how other people are hurting, because they're lost in their own issues and in their own processes. So again, there is this need to not become overly self-absorbed or narcissistic, but to balance that with the Saturn, Capricorn, 10th house polarity of maturity and some objectivity and discipline. So, if you are a Cancer rising, you're moving towards Cancer. And in very many ways, we can look at these charts and say, we're coming out of, yes, the polarity of Cancer is Capricorn. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're going to look at the ascendant. If you are a Cancer rising, the right above that is the 12th house. You're coming out of the 12th house. That is a way in your past. And you're learning this ascendant. So you're coming out of Gemini and you're learning Cancer, moving towards ultimately Leo. But you want to get Cancer down first. So if you're a Cancer rising, you may have had past lives where you were not in touch with your feelings, where you were not in touch with your personal needs, where you were not in touch with your emotions or your inner child. And this lifetime, you were Gemini. You were thinking, analyzing, fixing. You know, you're a real smart person. You're coming from Gemini on the 12th, and you're now coming out of your head and into your heart. You're coming out of your thoughts and your thinking left brain into Cancer, into feeling, into honoring other aspects of your being. You're learning Cancer. Yeah? So Moon in Cancer, you got it down. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit about the Moon addiction. The Moon addiction is when you're so comfortable there and you know it so well that you don't leave it. So if you've got the Moon in Cancer, that's wonderful and great that you are very emotional, you are very intuitive, you are very feeling, and you can be very compassionate and understanding of other people, and you need to get out of the house. You need to come out of yourself a little bit. You need to use all of that towards some, towards something, do something with it, balance it with that 10th house Capricorn. Yeah. So the Moon is our past, and we don't want to stay in our past. We want to move towards the future. Yeah. We'll get all into moving towards the future and the whole evolutionary process in the last 2 classes of the seminar, and also then when we work with the other planets and the houses. So we'll look at how we interpret a chart to see the soul intention of where they have been to where they're going to. But right now, we're going to continue on to Leo. The second fire sign. We've done it. Thank you very much. You're an excellent class. We've made it through fire, earth, air, and water. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. And now we come on to the second fire sign. It's fixed fire. Aries is cardinal fire. We talked about Aries. Wow. Unconscious, the bull in the china shop, the ram, the start, the pioneer. Who cares? It's kind of unconscious. Well, Leo is a little more conscious. It's gone through the 4 signs. It's coming out of the womb of Cancer, out of that feeling of Cancer that's gotten in touch with its personal needs, with its personal processes, with its emotions. So Leo comes out of Cancer. It's not coming out of the primordial, bliss of Pisces, right? From chaos and infinity. No, Leo is emerging out of Cancer, the personal womb, the cave, my own personal needs. So there is a self-consciousness to the fire of Leo. And that self-consciousness creates then, this is a fixed fire. And that fixed fire is like an engine, a steam, think of a steam engine, those trains, the old, you add the coal, or you add the wood, and it's, think of a car engine, a piston. It's contained explosions. And those contained explosions, basically can propel something in a particular direction. So here we have Napoleon was a Leo. Anyway, enough of Napoleon. But the idea here is that the leader, the king, the queen, the lioness, the lion is the king or the queen of the jungle. It's the only sign that is a carnivore. It's an animal that is a carnivore. This is a powerful sign of desire. It takes those desires of Aries and becomes more conscious of it. I always kind of look at Leo as the adolescent because Cancer is the child. And Leo is born out of that. And you know teenagers, they are very willful. They're full of themselves. They're full of their feelings and their point of view and their truth. And the adults just don't know what's going on, man. I'm sorry, but you're out of touch. You're the old generation. You guys are history. We got it here. We got it here. We are the future. We are the next generation. Step aside, please. I would like to, tear up all those parking lots and tear down all those office buildings. Who needs banks? Who needs money? Forget it. I love it. I love teenagers. I love kids. Okay, so anyway, but there is this, this kind of, it's myopic, it's rather my world and welcome to it. What's that? Wayne's World was a movie that came out. It's just, okay, it's, the world according to Garp, I think, or the truth according to Garp is another one. There's just this is my way, my thing of doing it. This is the king or the queen. Ideally, this is balanced by the polarity, Aquarius, and 11th house. So now we're looking at, and we want to be looking at, if you have a bunch of planets in Leo, a bunch of planets in the 5th house. Leo is ruled by the sun. If you have a powerful sun, and that powerful sun is like the sun rising or the sun up at the midheaven, different places in the chart are powerful. And so we have this, this Leo archetype, this sun, this solar energy that wants to take, it's just like a ray of sun. The sun gives light generously, unconditionally, shines its light on everyone. So Leo wants to be seen by everyone. Leo wants to give to everyone. Leo wants to create, express. I like it. Maurice calls it the agent of life. Leo is an agent of life. I give life with everything that I do, with everything that I say, with every act that I perform. I am giving life to something. When I play the violin, I am giving life to classical music. When I do astrology, I am giving life to astrology, or it would die and go away. So we are agents of life through what we do. We give ourselves, our energy, our fire, our power to what we want to create. And we give our heart. Leo rules the heart. We give our heart space. So when you follow your heart, when you act on your bliss, when you go forward and you give and you follow your excitement, you follow your heart, you are being an agent of life, and you are doing your 5th house. You are doing your sun. You are doing your Leo. So it is the sign of self-expression. I formed myself in Cancer. Now I want to shine it out. I want to ray it out. I want to be seen. So Leo is about drama. Leo is about being on the stage. Leo is about being on the top of the mountain, the top of the pyramid, being seen from all over, by everyone. It's Tom Cruise. Let me think of some Leo actors, Robert Redford, I think, is a Leo. I know, what's her face? No, Bette Midler. Bette Midler was a Scorpio, but she had a stellium in the 5th house. Anyway, the thing about being on stage is what? You have an audience. Now, you take Leo without an audience, and you've got one sad puppy. The thing about fire is it needs fuel. Yeah? Whether it's coal, wood, money, clapping, applause, smiles, Leo wants to be seen, wants to be approved of, wants our applause, wants laughter. When they open the door to a party, they want heads to turn. Oh my God, Sally's here. And then Sally is just like, oh, yes. You know, I mean, you know that feeling. It's like, roll out the red carpet. So Leo needs that. The challenge, obviously, with that is the fear of rejection is the bottom line. It's probably the biggest fear of Leo. Oh my God, what if they don't like my dress? I'm not going to wear that. But what if they don't like this earring? Oh, I'm not going to wear that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm going to hide myself. I'm going to, go back to Cancer. Oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for the stage. No, don't open that curtain. I don't want to be seen. I need more school. I need more letters under my name. I need to be older. I need to be more successful. I need more money. Wait. If you're Leo rising, you're learning how to just show up. You're coming out of Cancer on the 12th house. I'm afraid, I'm not ready yet, I'm insecure, I'm needy, oh my God, I don't have everything. And you're learning how to do Leo. Just, ready or not, here I am. It's the song, I Did It My Way. I did it my... I forget the rest of the words, but it's a good song, I think. Yeah? So this is Leo. And like I say, all the fire signs, it's interesting because Leo can come across as being the lion or the lioness. Roar! I'm big. I'm strong. Look out for me. Roar! And, fire can be blown out like a candle. Okay, wherever fire goes, there's always fear. Fire is very, like I say, it needs fuel. And like I think I said with Aries, right? You put water on fire, it goes out. You put earth on fire, it goes out. You can blow fire out like you blow out a candle with too much air. So fire is very tenuous. Leo is very tenuous. It is fixed fire. So it is very powerful in that sense. So it has to do with then the king or the queen. It has to do with generously giving, creating. And let's look at the act of creation. This act of creation involves becoming these mini gods, mini goddesses. Like I've said many times, creation is something new. Never been done before, never been seen before, never been heard before. There are no instructions, there are no recipes, there is no path to follow. It's new. N-E-W. If you're following a pattern, if you're copying a dress that somebody else made, okay, this is more Virgo. Okay, this is the technician. Even the pianist playing the piano, they are a technician. They're playing somebody else's music, Bach, Mozart, whatever. It's different playing an instrument than it is writing music. Composing is different than performing. So when Leo comes on, it is about creating something brand new that has never been before, and it is a trick. It's not easy. There are no instructions. It takes a lot of fire. So this is the challenge of ego, of Leo. Where did that come from? I guess it takes ego. Whatever, man. Well, okay, a lot of times people look at Leos and they say they're egotistical, they're self-centered, they're narcissistic, they need all the attention, especially kids. you get these little, the little Leo kids, and it's like, Mommy, Daddy, come on, look at me, watch this, look at this. I just learned a new trick, I just did this. It's like, Mom and Dad can just go, oh my God, this kid sure needs a lot of attention. Little sweetheart. Yeah, I mean, it can be, so Leos can be a little, they can be a little demanding, they can be a little expecting, they do need a lot of attention. But when you have some planets in Leo, the idea, is actually that it's good. They need that. They need to be that way. And in some ways, Leo can teach everyone. Let's look at this other thing, because Leo is personal power. Leo is the king. It is the king of the jungle, the queen of the jungle. It's the top of the food chain. It's the top of the pyramid. And our society, whether you call it the Illuminati, whether you call it the government, whether you call it the church, or whether you call it your parents or your family or your teachers, there's a certain desire here to smother that autonomous, sovereign, my own personal power. And this is and we're taught through religion, through cultural conditioning, don't be selfish. Don't be too big for your pants. Don't be too big for your britches, or, don't expect too much. Or who do you think you are? And particularly religion. That's just, you have to be saved. Just who do you think you are? What authority told you that? What scientist or, what priest or what Messiah said that was right or wrong or good or bad or okay or not okay? Who do you think you are? There's a lot of this going on now at the turning of the ages, at the birth of the new paradigm, breaking down the hierarchy. This is part of what this age of Aquarius, we're on the Leo-Aquarius axis now, is all about. We need to be balancing the good of the group, which is Aquarius, and the whole, with Leo, which is the individual. And we have to be careful. We know that through the age of Pisces, Virgo became the virgin, the woman, the feminine became the shadow and was suppressed and denied and ignored and degraded. Nature, the feminine. Now we're moving into Aquarius. Globalization, world government, world banking system, the community, the good of the group, the good of the whole. We need to be very careful that Leo does not become the shadow and does not become degraded, suppressed, judged, and shit on. You know what I mean? We have to guarantee the rights of the individual within the group, and we're in very strong danger of losing Leo with all of our numbers and our charge cards and our, pretty soon we're going to have, I'm not going to say that. One potential future is that we all become a number. And of course, that would be the end of Leo. Okay? Next, Leo. Creation, recreation. Oh yeah. How do we create? We recreate. We play. Right? How do you come up with something that you've never come up with before? You take everything that is, just watch the kids in the sandbox. Watch the kids with pens and papers and things like that. They play. Recreation and play leads to putting things together in new ways and in different ways
So Leo, fifth house, the sun, needs to play. It needs to shine. Not only does it need applause and fuel and approval, but it just needs to get out and do things differently and goof around without this stress or this pressure of Capricorn or Saturn or Cancer, the mother or the father. Kids need to like open up and play. So, and that also then of course deals with the fifth house, which has to do with gambling, speculation, risk-taking, expanding the boundaries of the known, of the familiar, of the secure, and doing something that has not been done before. This is the lioness. So that is the lion. Hallelujah. That's what I do with my astro yoga. And I'm going to try to get that up on my website, the Astrology and Yoga. It does movement and music to the 12 signs and gets it more on a feeling, active, physical body level. And we do the Hallelujah chorus for Leo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The king is here, the queen is here. It's this fullness of being. We all have a sun. We all have a Leo somewhere. And if you get to the place of unconditional self-love, boom, you're in a good place. And you don't need to do the shadow of Leo. The shadow of Leo is, I don't unconditionally love myself. Because if I unconditionally loved myself, I would say and I would be truthful and open and authentic and honest. This is the true Leo. The true Leo is loyal, they are authentic, they are honest, they are, transparent. They're not holding any secrets, holding anything back. They are the sun. What you see is what you get. Honest and open and truthful. The shadow of Leo is I don't unconditionally love myself. I don't feel secure. I don't feel like the sun. I don't feel ready. So I'm going to pretend. The shadow of Leo is fake it till you make it. Yeah? It's wearing the mask. It's playing the role. It's acting a role that you are not. It's not authentic. It's not honest. It's not open. You are pretending. You're faking it. And a certain amount of this for Leo is necessary. Like I say, it is fake it till you make it. I mean, it is like, go for it. Try to do it. Push the envelope. But the more you unconditionally love yourself, the more you unconditionally accept yourself in a true way, you won't be trying to do it to meet expectations, to get approval, to get applause, out of a fear of rejection. You'll be doing it out of your authentic, original self. So the shadow of Leo is, one who is egotistical. They're in their ego. The ego is that limited, small self. Did I explain and talk about my definition of ego to you guys before? I think I did that in the last one, right? The ego is the control tower of the physical body. We are infinite spiritual beings having an earthly experience. And when we are born, we give ourselves an ego. It's the control tower. I love the movie Men in Black, where they expose that alien. They open the guy's head up, and there's this little alien sitting on a chair with all the controls. Running this body. I mean, to me, that's like the perfect ego. So you have to go see Men in Black, okay? Yeah. So we just don't want to confuse the ego with our ultimate infinite spiritual self. So there is a yes here, okay? So, the thing about Leo The shadow of Leo is getting lost in the little self, in the ego, that I need, right now, as, who I am. I need a lot of validation because I don't unconditionally love myself. I need a lot of applause, a lot of approval. If anybody rejects me, my feelings are really hurt and I go into a big dramatic display. This is the downside of Leo, is getting lost in the ego. But when you move into your infinite spiritual self and do your unconditional self-love, then you can move into the authentic expression of Leo in your chart. Okay, Virgo. Leo leads to Virgo, the second earth sign. Mutable earth. Rules the sixth house and is ruled by the planet Mercury. So if you look at in the old days, in the old days, Leo was ruled by the sun, Cancer the moon. Then you go out from there, Gemini and Virgo ruled by Mercury. Go out from there, Taurus and Libra ruled by Venus. In the old days, Aries and Scorpio were ruled by Mars. Pisces and Sag ruled by Jupiter. And Saturn, Capricorn, and Aquarius. So these rulerships just kind of go out, okay, from the sun, moon in Cancer and Leo. Cancer and Leo are the most two personal signs. They take everything personally. And I like that book, The Four Agreements. Yeah? Remember, one of those agreements is don't take anything personally. So Leo and Cancer need to read about that agreement, and everybody will be, looking good. Anyway, getting back to Virgo, Mercury, sixth house, okay, and Leo, top of the pyramid. I create. I am. I'm at the top of the mountain. I'm full of myself. I am the sun. I am authentic. I am generous. And now I come to Virgo. I need to contribute. I need to give something. I need to prepare myself, my light, to shine on planet Earth, in the social realm, outside myself. My purpose, as I see it, now needs to be applied to something outside, something bigger, something greater than just myself. So Virgo is about contribution. Virgo is about giving. And it's also about integrating myself into something more, something bigger. It prepares us for Libra. And I look at Pisces and Virgo are the signs of initiation. And Virgo is the initiation of Leo into Libra. The self of Leo into relationship and partnership, which is Libra. So Virgo is this transition. It's mutable earth. I am going to change. I am going to mutate. I am going to integrate myself and my purpose into something more collective, into something that what people need. So Virgo is about perfection. Virgo is about really getting things straight, square, together, get it together so that it is ready, so that it is relevant. I always like that, I like that term relevant. I think President Reagan used it for the United Nations or something, Are they still relevant? Are you relevant? Is your purpose needed? Is what you think is important in Leo? In Leo, it's like, I have an idea. I think that everybody needs a paper airplane. And my purpose, on planet Earth is to make sure that everybody gets a paper airplane. So you get that purpose, and you get that identity, and you get all wrapped up in it, and that's your creative thing. And then you go into Virgo, and you start making paper airplanes, and you build up your business, and you bust your ass, and you make 7 billion paper airplanes, and then you try to pass them out to everybody. And then, Libra is the 7th house. It's other people, and it's relationships and partnerships. Do they want a paper airplane? Do they need a paper airplane? Is a paper airplane really going to help them? I mean, so this is this place where Virgo is kind of in between themselves and the world and other people, and they can be very self-critical. This is the place of being critical, of analyzing, of thinking it through, of figuring it out. Is this right? Is this perfect? Is this ready? Is this important? I'm going to analyze. I'm going to do my market research. I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to criticize. I'm going to find, Virgo is about finding what's missing, the missing link, the weak link in the argument. Virgo is about really getting into the details of things. It's about learning discrimination. What is really going to, make it work? All these paper airplanes, if they had rubber bands with propellers and then little wheels to land and take off, then everybody would want them. It's not that it's a bad idea, just having the paper airplane, but we could improve it. We can add something more. So give me some rubber bands, okay, And so Virgo gets out there, gets the rubber bands, gets the propellers, gets the wheels. So this is about, taking that Leo, taking that fire. Again, Aries goes into Taurus. It's the impulse that has to manifest some money and some resources and develop talent and capacities in Taurus. Well, Leo comes into Virgo, and it's like, I need to put forth effort. The polarity is Pisces. We talked about Pisces. I sit and watch the river flow. Everything is good. Everything happens. God takes care of everything. All I have to do is my mantras, my affirmations, my dreams, and everything's going to be fine. That needs to be balanced with Virgo, which is effort. Okay? Pisces is the pacifist, the draft dodger. I'm not going to war. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight or kill anybody. That's disgusting. Well, that needs to be balanced by Virgo. That's going to get out. They're going to make a sign that says "Stop War," and they're going to walk down the street. Okay, and they're going to, get on a blog, and they're going to write letters to the president. They're going to do something about it. So Virgo is about work. Virgo is about contributing. Virgo is about integrating. Virgo is about serving. A bigger, taking myself in Leo and getting ready for the show. I always look at Virgo, and particularly the 6th house. Particularly transits and progressions that go through the 6th house. Your progressed moon spends 2.5 years in the 6th house. Right now, the Sun and Mercury are both in Virgo. Okay, this is a time where we are all, in a certain way, going through this place. I always, use the analogy of the bride or the bridegroom preparing for the wedding. It's like, oh my goodness, is my hair done right? Is my tuxedo on? Does my dress look good? This is a time of like wanting to get it straight. It's like a time where the curtain's going to open at the descendant. So below the horizon, Aries through Virgo is the subjective inner reality. Libra through Pisces is the objective, social, transpersonal reality. So this is this Virgo-Pisces initiation axis. So it's also like, so when planets come up to hit that descendant in transit, Jupiter, Saturn especially, progressed moon, and they go over that descendant, it's like the full moon. It's we're coming out. There's that time of, okay, the curtain's going to open. People are going to see me. Do I know all my lines for the play? Is the set perfect? Is the cameraman, is the lighting correct? Is the sound man, so Virgo is just like, and this is where Virgo can have problems. Stress, anxiety, control freaks, needing to control it. Is everything right? Is everything ready? Oh my God, I'm going to pull all my hair out. Ah! I'm so discriminating. I'm so analytical. I'm so critical. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be right. If I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. This is Virgo without Pisces, right? Pisces is spirit, God, faith, trust, belief. It's okay, my son, my daughter. Everything will be okay. Trust, believe in life. Virgo's out here, oh, you freaking kidding me? Get out of town, man. The last time I did that, everything didn't go the way I wanted it, and it wasn't perfect, and it came out wrong, and people laughed at the show. The show did not go on. Hello. My computer crashed. I'm not going to have that happen again. I'm going to get the strongest antivirus software, and I'm going to hunker down, and I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to, protect myself and analyze it and get another. Virgo can get like, oh my God, too much Virgo is trying to analyze and figure, cover every base. There's no faith, there's no trust, there's no nothing. It's like I want control. It's micromanagement. So Virgo can get a little, micromanaging people, places, the work environment, a little challenging there. So if you got the moon in Virgo, you're coming from Virgo. And, these is past lives or whatever, you got Virgo down. You are very analytical, you're very clear, you're very precise. Okay, you're a good worker, you're very conscientious. Virgo is very conscientious. They want to do it right. They want to get it perfect. It's beautiful. On a physical level, Virgo is the supermodel. They've got the perfect body. Let's look at Virgo with health. It's the sixth house, is the house of health, but Virgos also have health issues. Why do they have health issues? A lot of it, it's connected to hypochondriacs. Because the thinking and the stress of what's missing, of what's wrong, of what's, what could go wrong, what might happen, can lead to, obviously stress is the leading cause, okay, of, I'm sure, the heart attacks, the heart problems, lung issues. If you look at asthma, yeah, and what is asthma? In so many kids, it's practically academic proportions in the grade schools and stuff. It's like life is overwhelming. Okay, life is too much. I can't breathe, right? So, Virgo can get in these places of, whoa, it's too much, it's overwhelmed, I can't breathe, I can't handle it, I can't control it, I can't manage it. So this Virgo is about integrating myself into the world. It's not only myself into the world, but it's also my vision, my purpose, my Leo, my greatness into my physical body. So it's integrating spirit into matter. It's where my identity and my soul, my essence, comes into my physical body, and it either, burns it out, heals it, works with it. So this Virgo has a lot to do, but it's more the sixth house. We'll get to the houses later. That has to do with your health and your physical body. Yeah. So again, the Virgo needs to balance itself with Pisces. The plus side is that it works. It puts forth effort. Okay, it's very practical, it's analytical, it's very intelligent. Gets the job done. is trustworthy, conscientious, has a lot of discernment. You don't pull shit over on a Virgo. Virgo and Scorpio have that in common, Capricorn. So these earth water signs, you don't get away with anything with Virgo, right? They got an eye for details. So that's our upside. Downside is they have to have control. They're overly critical, overly self-critical. Moon in Virgo is I don't feel good about myself. I'm always judging myself, and I'm not good enough. And my picture was the worst one in the class, and I can't write a song. I can't write music. Are you kidding? You've got to be really talented in order to do that. Yeah. So there can just be this overly self-critical nature that really stifles and suppresses. And the other side about this axis of Virgo and Pisces does have to do, I call it the existence axis, where it's just about existing. Pisces, Virgo, and Taurus can live in simplicity. They are the most simple signs. Virgo can handle being alone. Virgo can handle simplicity. If we look at it, that in the 60s we had that Uranus-Pluto conjunction in Virgo. It was the birth, of the organic food movement. It was, it was the birth of, all kinds of save the environment. It was the birth of, so, this Virgo, this earth sign is also about purifying the earth. We want to drink clean water. We want to breathe clean air. This is Virgo. It's not just a personal thing of wanting to purify and purge and integrate. It's also then about our whole planet, our whole environment. So this is the environmental movement. Greenpeace, Earth First. You find all these Virgo people, and it is about health and healing. Pisces is the Reiki master, that doesn't touch you, that is just dealing with the subtle energies, and it's the magician that is just, moving around and intuiting. It's the medical intuitive. I kind of sense that, you need a liver detox. Virgo is, all right, we're going to get in there. You're going to change your diet. I'm going to be your personal trainer. You need to jog, 2 miles a day, and you need to eat this food and stop eating that food. And it's the dietitian, it's the nutrition, it's the health and healing on a very physical, tangible, real level. It's the nurse practitioner that's going to change your bedpan, that's going to really do the service. That's going, and both of these also then have to do with humility, and being able to serve sometimes involves doing some dirty work. I don't know if I talked about Pisces. Pisces is also, I work at the dump. I work on sewers. I work on the sewer system of New York City. I have a lot of Pisces. Yeah? It's like Pisces is just, it's almost like they don't really, it doesn't faze them. There can be this just, dealing with anything. The plumbers, whatever. But, Virgo, on the other hand, is very clean, very precise, very clear, getting everything in order. So these are the two aspects here that want to be balanced. It's not either or, it's both and more. That's a new paradigm motto. All right, how are we doing? 10:40. 20 minutes. I am going to, and they don't like chaos is absolutely right. Yeah, Pisces is chaos. Virgo is order and structure. So I did Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. I did 4. That would leave 6. I got to do Libra. Let's do a Libra here. Cardinal air. So we move from Virgo into Libra. Opposite of Aries. And Libra, 7th house, is ruled by Venus. Lots of planets in 7th house. Lots of planets in Libra. Let's look at this sign. It is partnership and relationship. It is the other. Aries is the self. Libra is the other. The symbol is one of the scales of coming into balance. So Libra is this sign that has to deal with coming into balance. The scales are about justice, about peace, about harmony, equality, equal giving and taking, learning how to speak and put it out there, and learning how to receive and listen and take it in. So this sign of, Libra, of partnership, of the other, is an air sign. It's cardinal air. I initiate Brahma. I start out talking, walking and talking and shopping, discussing things. So Libra is the counselor. It's the therapist. It's really working with communication, with partnership and equality. And what does that deal with? Of course, that deals not only with communication, but then also cooperation, compromise, being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. The air is objective. So Libra is tapped into what the other person needs, what the other person wants. It is able to really please and really listen and be there for the other person. It's about partnership and relationship. And let's look at the distinction between the two. There's all kinds of relationships: mother, daughter, teacher, student, parent, child. But there's only one kind of partnership. When we talk about Libra, we talk about coming into partnership, and that is equality. That is 50-50. That we both are on the same level. It's not teacher-student. It's not, parent-child. We are equal here. It's about balancing these scales of power, of control, of creative input, and being able to not be too Aries, not be too Libra. So Libra is the sign of extremes. Moon in Libra, you're coming from Libra. Lots of planets in the 7th house. That is the downside of Libra is codependency. The downside of Libra is I'm here for you. It's all about you. Moon in Libra, Pluto in Libra, South Node of the Moon in Libra. These are the 3 symbols of the past. You're coming from building a sense of identity, building a sense of who you are, a sense of purpose in life, through your partner, through other people, through what other people wanted. So it's the other, codependency. I'm here for you. It's all about you. I don't exist. What do you need? Can I change your slippers? Do you need your paper? Da-da-da-da-da. The flip side of that, it can also be, that I am on top of you, and I am controlling you, and I'm controlling this relationship, and I need you to make me feel good, and I need you to get my slippers, and I need you to, to clap for me and, change my, whatever I need changed so that I can go out and work. But, if you're coming from these issues of the past, you have been extremely either too much or too little. You have either given yourself away, or you have overly dominated and overly controlled and overly, extended yourself in and through partnership and relationship, and you are coming into the balance of the two. So Libra is ruled by Venus, also Pallas Athena, and Juno or Hera. I like the asteroid connection with Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and she was also the goddess of war. She had a helmet, armor, and a spear. Yeah. Libra is just not, it's a cardinal sign. Okay, it's very powerful and very strong. Libras are very intelligent. It rules law. Think of lawyers, arguing their cause in the courtroom. Trying to bring justice into the world and fairness. They go through a lot of school. They go through a lot of learning. It is an air sign. It's very intellectual. There's a lot of thinking going on with Libra. Yeah. So, this is this cardinal sign of Libra. If you're learning Libra, if you're a Libra rising, it's about learning how to do partnership. It's about learning how to be with other people. Maybe you were a hermit. Maybe you were a nun or a priest or somebody. Maybe you were a movie star who didn't have any, partnerships or relationships in your past lives. Or they were superficial. And they were just not deep. Again, these air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, it's the wind blowing over the surface. Libra can also be superficial. It looks good. I want the best looking partner. Nah, we don't get along. I don't really, we have a hard time, but, when we dress up and we go out, we are looking good. And they can actually live and make a lot of decisions based on surface appearances of beauty, of art. But on the other hand, the upside of that is they are very artistic, and there is a lot of beauty, and they bring a lot of feng shui. They bring a lot of interior decorating and fashion design and jewelry, and I mean there's so many things. I mean, thank God, right? You have this Libra Venus that does adorn itself. It's all the whole cosmetic industry. This is all about looking good. Libra's about looking good. And it has an effect. We do, there is a connection between truth and beauty. The flowers, the animals. This is, so there is this connection. And so that, we strive for and we work for beauty. So, So these different, these different signs, like I say, if you have your moon there, Pluto, south node of the moon, you're coming from that Libra. If you're a Libra rising, you're learning how to do Libra. And I just want to be sensitive to our time. So it is the sign of extreme coming into balance. It is the sign of relationship and partnership. And I say initiating, beginning, talking. And then Libra moves into Scorpio. We're going to start with Scorpio next week. Okay? And Scorpio is fixed water. That's that is the consummation of the relationship. That's the sex. So Libra wants a partner. They want somebody to window shop with. They want somebody to travel with, somebody to talk to, somebody to watch the movie with. So they're not alone. It's partnership and companionship. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're like, Libras, if there's a lot of Libra going on, they're not the sign of, till death do us part. They have more divorces and they've gone through more relationships than anybody else. It's obviously learning how to do partnership and relationship. That doesn't mean that, you're a Libra, that means you're a partner. No, that means they're learning how to be a partner, and, they learn something new from every partnership that they are in. So, You did it, man. Got through a whole bunch of signs here today. I hope that everyone is getting this, getting the picture here, getting the idea. And we will return next week and do Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, and Aquarius. And we will have done all of the signs in the 3 classes, like I said. At this point, I'm going to turn off the recording, but we have a few more minutes where I can chat, answer questions. Well, maybe I'll leave the recording on. Yay, Sag next week. If there's any questions, you can put them on the chat at this point. God, I love it. No questions. Are you kidding me? What if your rising and moon sign are the same? Thank you very much. Yes, that's a very good one. And here what we'll deal with, this is a good answer. The moon has to do with your past. The rising sign has to do with what you're learning. You have a PhD in your moon, and your rising sign is the school that you're in. And if they're the same, oh my God, there's a linkage between the past and the future. You are on a mission that involves more than one lifetime. Yeah, so you started something, and you're here to do more of it. Okay, so whatever that moon rising sign is, and here's where we get into spirals rather than circles. We evolve in a spiral. So we come back to the same point, but we're not at the same level. We're not at the same vibration. It says that you did, let's say you got the moon in Gemini, you did Gemini at one level, and now you're coming back to do more Gemini, but on a different level. Yeah? So there is this link between the past and the future, and there's also this, soul intention of doing more of the same thing, but also refining it, learning more about it, cultivating it. How can the polarities help balance out a difficult sign? Example, a loaded 6th Virgo with Pisces to help give example of how to use the energy to balance. Well, okay, this is a loaded 6th house, a loaded Mercury, a loaded Virgo, okay, has this desire to get it right, to get it perfect. The perfect example, all right, is the centipede. Jeffrey Green, so gave me this one. It's the centipede, 100 legs, and the centipede stopping and looking at leg 49. Getting lost in the details. Getting lost with one leg when you've got 99 other legs. There comes a point where that loaded Virgo, that loaded 6th house, has to let go. Take a chill pill. So how do you do it? How do you do Pisces? You want to balance it with Pisces? Meditate. You want to balance it with Pisces? Learn a musical instrument. You want to balance it with Pisces? Go dancing. Do the tango. Be a belly dancer. You want to balance it with Pisces? Color. Paint. Do some watercolors. Get out of your head. Let go of your schedule. Let go of your control. Stop worrying about things. Some people would even say, go to church. Start praying. Do your mantras. That's how you balance a loaded Virgo, which is worried and wants to get it right and may not trust or have faith that life, God, source, creator is there and going to manage it and take care of it. And that's part of the issue. So you can also look at your belief system. Yeah. And then you balance that Virgo with your Pisces. Did he answer my question? Awesome. Time of birth. Oh, somebody wanted my, if you want to do my chart, I was born at 7:43 a.m. Central Daylight Time in Chicago, Illinois. Well, here's the big one. July 23rd, I know you're not going to believe this, but 1957. Yes, yes, I'm getting some gray hairs over here, some gray hairs over here. Okay, so that gives me 24 degrees Leo rising. I am learning how to be on stage. I'm learning how to do Leo. I'm learning how to come out of my fears of not being ready and just give webinars whether I know my shit or not. What time? The time, 7:43 a.m. I can type that in an email to everybody. I don't want to hold everybody up. Oh, we've got 3 more minutes. 7:43 in the morning. My son is in the 12th house. Yes, okay, very good. So, thank you very much for attending this webinar. And again, feel free to email me. We're going to finish up the signs next week. Go to astro.com. I sent out an email to everybody with books that you can read. Hopefully you're, especially Stephen Forrest, The Inner Sky, get that FedEx to you overnight from Amazon.com if you don't have it. I think he starts out going through the signs. So if you read these signs before I even get to them, you're that much more ahead of the game.